Hello everyone. So today we have a student from Boston University. His name is Bailey Shen. Bailey, can you go ahead and just introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm Bailey Shen. I'm from Arcadia, California, and I go to Boston University. I'm planning to major in international relations with a minor in political science, and currently I am enrolled in Boston University's College of General Studies.
All right, perfect. Now, Bailey, you and I actually had this discussion before too, but if I'm not mistaken, you originally started off as a political science major, and you actually decided to switch that to have international relations be more of your major focus and poli-sci as your minor. Can you just go explain, like, what made you decide that and what you see as the benefits of doing so?
Sure. So I feel that international relations and political science are very closely related. So my first semester at Boston University, I did take a political science class. I took Introduction to Public Policy. And while I do enjoy political science and that course, I felt that international relations had a much more catered academic interest for me. So the current program that I intend to pursue is a international relations degree with a concentration in foreign policy and security studies. And so because of that, because of how specific it is and what I kind of want to do in the future, I felt that it would be a better option for me while also being able to fulfill all the requirements for a political science minor. So I felt that it was still, give or take, a good decision on my part.
I see. And you mentioned that based on making the switch, it helps you kind of figure out where you're going for in the future, maybe for a career or a graduate school. Now, I know one thing is with a lot of IR and poli-sci majors, it's common to see them being pre-law and going into law school. Is that your intended plan right now, or do you have a different plan in terms of where you plan to go after undergraduate?
I'm currently not really decided whether I would want to pursue something in law, especially focusing a lot on constitutional law in high school, where I was on the government team and we had to study a lot of the constitutional law. I'm not sure if that's something I want to pursue, mainly because I'm not sure if I want to go have a career in law. But I do, at least I plan to go to grad school, hopefully, and I'm not completely sure what I would major in or what I would get my master's degree in, but that's definitely an option for my foreseeable future, at least.
All right, I see. And basically speaking to you, you're mentioning how you're kind of keeping your options open and trying to see that there are a lot of different paths you can take. Now, a lot of high school students, they worry about, I mean, not just law, it could be med, it could be just doing a graduate school in general. They're worried that they need to have a set plan by the time they get into college. How do you feel about having that set plan, or would you rather be more open-minded to your opportunities?
I feel like having a set plan is really good, but also you have to be open to different factors. So I had a gap semester for my stay or tenure at BU. So I had the entire fall semester of 2019 off, and I used that to plan the classes I needed. You want to have that. You want to have a good idea of what you want to do, but then you also have to be open to new opportunities or unforeseen opportunities. So I think that's really what you should go for. I planned all my classes. I planned all the classes that I need to fulfill all the units I need to graduate. But at the same time, I'm leaving it open for something like if I want to take a different class, for example. But having an idea of what you want is a great step in sort of knowing what you want. At least it gives you a sense of security. I think that's the best part.
Okay, that's awesome. And you just actually recently mentioned that you took kind of a gap semester based on your status at Boston University. Do you feel like that gap semester, in your personal opinion, did you feel like that semester was wasted, or did you feel like it actually gave you a chance to grow both academically and as a person?
I think it was great for me. So academically, I took macroeconomics at Pasadena City College, and it gave me credits for my stay at Boston University, but it also helped fulfill a prerequisite class that I didn't even know I had. So it was a great killing two birds with one stone opportunity. And I also worked in the time off, and I also interned at Arcadia City Hall with the development service department. So it's a lot of what you make of it. And I felt like in my experience with the gap semester, it was very good, at least for me. It was a lot, helped me grow a lot professionally and academically. And I think that's ultimately what some people may consider doing in the future.
Yeah, and I think I mainly asked this question because a lot of students, given the situation with COVID and how uncertain our future is, a lot of students question whether or not a gap semester or taking some gap like this would be worth it, or whether it'd be better to go into community college first and then go into like a private four-year university. So I think having your experience in that definitely would help to understand it, especially in such uncertain times.
Yeah, and I know a lot of students are kind of want to defer their first semester because they feel that being online doesn't afford them a full opportunity, or they can't maximize their educational opportunities. And if that's the case, then I wouldn't discourage it, because ultimately you need to make your own decision on how you would benefit the most. But I feel that given the changes in circumstances, it might be a bit more difficult to find an internship or a job. But I feel that you still need to put yourself out there regardless of the situation.
All right, awesome. Now, just moving on to another concept. So, you mentioned that you're from California, yet you went all the way to the East Coast for school, so, in Boston and Massachusetts. So, I mean, being a student who's going out of state, did you really have any, fears or concerns about, going to a completely new environment?
I think my only fear was the weather. I mean, California, it's like 80 something degrees right now. And
Yeah.
it's like that for like 90% of the year. So going to Boston, where it's very cold, my first day there, it was, I want to say below 20.
Oh,
So
wow.
it was like a physical shock for my body to like be in that much, I wouldn't say pain, but it was very strange. It was like a winter, like a wasteland there. And then the first weekend after my orientation, it snowed. And that was the first time I've been in falling snow, which is very strange. But I've been in snow before. But I think that was my biggest concern, was like how well am I able to cope to the different weather? And luckily, I was able to cope really well. I went from, wow, it's above 30 degrees today, I can wear shorts. So I felt that there wasn't that much uncertainty, because I knew I kind of wanted to leave home. Being in California, Southern California, I felt that it's so similar. Everywhere is so similar. LA, San Bernardino, Orange County, they're all very similar. There's so many, like being an Asian American in Southern California, I'm just one of the million. So being in that bubble, being so similar with everybody else, kind of made it hard for me to stand out. So I feel like going to the East Coast, being in a new environment, being with so many different people in a diverse environment was great for my personal growth. I could learn who I am. I can learn what I want. And it was a lot of opportunities to meet new people. And I feel that being in Southern California with everybody that I've known since kindergarten, it sort of like stagnates. I wanted that sense of like a new breath in my life.
I mean, yeah, no, that's awesome. I know a lot of students, they have concerns about, is applying out of state worth it? And, I think it's a good opportunity getting out of your comfort zone, especially getting a chance to be more independent. So I think that's definitely a good thing to mention. Now, I want to actually go back to about a year or two ago, when we were both back in high school as seniors applying to college. I guess if you could just summarize how you personally felt about the college application process, how would you best summarize it? Just like holistically.
Stressful. I mean, it was definitely very stressful. I remember we would go back and forth proofreading each other's essays.
Yeah.
Like, Christian, can you review my essay? Can you like edit it? And you'd be like, hey, can you review my essay? So it's a lot of, I feel like the best way that I was able to cope with it was collaboration, because ultimately it's sort of a team effort. While it is your own, you have to voice your own experiences. I felt that having the support of not only my parents, but my friends, to help me formulate what I really wanted was like integral to my success. Like my parents helped me. I talked to my parents a lot. They helped me figure out like what I wanted to write about. They give me photo evidence that I didn't necessarily want, to remind me of my how many times I've been to Boston. So
Uh,
I wrote my essay out, and my dad, he was reading, he's like, actually, you've been to Boston 2 more times than that. And he showed me pictures. It's like, bro, okay. But I I just feel like the support of everybody around me has made it so much more it's made it so much more easier. And overall, it was definitely a eye-opening experience since
mhm.
I had to use like the Common App, the UC app, the Cal State app. So it was a very interesting experience for me, but it definitely was could have been better, but definitely could have been worse.
Yeah, I mean, there was definitely a lot going on. You definitely, when you mentioned the essay editing, you got like so many flashbacks to how many late nights we spent texting each other, like, "Yo, can you check this? It's due in like a week," something like
The
that.
entire
Well,
margin filled with comments.
exactly.
Yeah,
It's just the whole margins comments is like you getting all those resolved emails.
yeah.
All right, so yeah, no, I mean that's like definitely a good way to put it, like during the college app experience. Now, like, how about leading up to the college application? Maybe end of junior year, the summer before senior year. When we're in that researching process. What was your best way of getting knowledge towards understanding the college application process? Was it through your school, the internet? Was it through your maybe upperclassmen? You mentioned family and friends, but what would you say was the best or like the most? I guess like where did you learn from the most? I guess.
I think like the school workshops that we were kind of forced to go to were pretty good. I remember what was it, Naviance that they made us use.
Yeah,
But I
the
felt like starting freshman year, they made us start tracking things and tracking our classes. And I think the school administration really helped me sort of understand the college admissions process, like the physical application, not just the how it works or like how to get in. I felt that a lot of it was that latter aspect was mostly the school representatives that came to school. Um, like I still have the business card for the Boston University representative, and
yeah.
I name dropped him in my application just to show like I was invested in like wanting to go. So it was just I feel that schools, along with Arcadia High School and the schools that like they want you to play an integral part in helping me like understand what they wanted and what I should include. I feel that a minor aspect would have been the internet, but I don't think I really relied too much on the internet since so much that's thrown around, and I feel like the so much of the true source, the original source, the schools are telling me how to fill it out. They're telling me they gave you all those information packets. I still have like an entire binder full of every school's information packet. Like I have
Mhm.
like USC's like somewhere, and
Yeah.
Boston's, NYU's. So it was a lot of the interpersonal like explanations I felt that really helped me.
All right. Yeah. No, that's awesome. I mean, definitely. Our high school gave us a lot of resources, and those college visits. It definitely helped to talk to a representative. I mean, though, I think for both of us, we were very fortunate to go to a very highly, I guess, respected public school, and many students get to go to something similar, if not like a private institution for high school. Many students, though, they don't get that opportunity. They don't have as many resources as we were fortunate enough to. And I know it's maybe something that we can't speak on too much, but if you had to tell a student like where to look towards or how they should start, ones that don't have the resources that we were given, what would you say would be the best option for them?
Yeah, and we're like very fortunate to have so many opportunities afforded to us by our school. But definitely, um, I would use the internet for research, especially go to the school's website. Um, Boston University has a plethora of information on the website. All the other schools have the similar aspects too. So definitely maximize on your online resources because there's so much to know. There's so much to learn. You can always email them and request them for informational packages, and they would be more than happy to mail you some too. So it's just reaching out to who you know definitely would be great too. Like, for example, if I were going to USC, I would talk to you or talk to my dad because he teaches part-time there.
Mhm.
So just being able to reach out to people who know the information is so important. Like I can't emphasize how like important it is to connect with people. While it might seem kind of tacky or like you like, oh, connect with me on LinkedIn to like learn more, but I feel like that's like ultimately what you need to do. You just need to make connections to people who are relevant to what you want. because without them, you will still be outside. You won't know what's going on. So definitely talk to friends who know, talk to family who know, look to the internet for information too, because that's so helpful.
All right, awesome. And I guess, if we were to just wrap up just specifically college application, is there anything that you regret from the college application process or something that you would change what you did back then?
Probably just finishing it. Like I know I procrastinated so much on it. Um, I started early. I started in the summer before senior even started. I like finished like all my UCs, but then I reread it when like in the fall. I was like, wow, you're all so bad. So I ended up just rewriting all of them anyway. So I feel like having a like set in stone work ethic would have been so much better for me. Also because if I like in retrospect, I probably should have like had a post-it note for every single like deadline and had it like right in front of me when I woke up, because I remember I saw some of the schools that I thought about applying to and I saw the deadlines like never mind, I just won't apply. So definitely it's just finishing it right away while you have the time. Like it's nice to have, oh, I can watch like a show on Netflix to like take a break, and like 10 hours later you're like, oh, I still haven't done my application.
Yeah,
So it's just having that work ethic. I wish I had it, because it would have been so much more stress relieving to not have to worry about deadlines.
yeah, no, I definitely get feeling that one. I feel like procrastination was a huge thing, especially since we're still juggling school, and both of us were in
Yeah,
marching, so that
band,
was a big
yeah.
difficult. Yeah, so
All the
yeah,
extracurriculars are pretty rough. Yeah.
exactly. So I mean, just finding the way to balance it, and giving yourself that own personal time to relax. It's not. I don't think it's wrong to watch Netflix or YouTube now and then, but just being able to control yourself.
You
Yeah.
need to, yeah, limit yourself. It was pretty hard.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so yeah, so I guess like moving on from the college application process, going more back again to you in college right now. Like we mentioned, you went to a completely different state, and even though maybe you were only there for like 3 months before it was cut short by the current pandemic pandemic we have right now, what would you say was something that you got to do in college that you weren't able to do back here in California?
I'd say like impulsive trips to the city. So Boston is so close to the like the central Boston area.
Hmm.
It's I'd say less than 4 train stops away from like being at the heart of Boston. And it was so nice to be able to explore on my own. There's so diverse. Like you have Boston University, which is a line. Our campus is a straight line on Commonwealth Avenue in Boston. But then if you're to go east, you go into the city. But if you go further west, you go to Boston College, which is in Chestnut Hill. So there's so much to see. I felt like for example, I finished my first midterm, and then my friend and I, we were just talking in our dorm, and he said, "Hey, do you want to go take photos like right now and go to like the North End, which is where like all the Italian place, like all Italian food is?"
Hmm.
Like, sure, like why not? We don't have anything to do. Or it'd be like in the middle of the week, I went to watch Fiddler on the Roof at uh, Emerson's Broadway or theater, and with my brother. So I went to watch a Broadway musical in the middle of the week, which I don't know if that was a good decision or not, because I had a paper due the next day, and I like pulled an all nighter to finish the paper. But it's all being on your own and being accountable for your own actions is liberating, but at the same time pretty stressful, because you have the full weight of your decisions on you. But I felt that being, as opposed to being at home where I'd have to, I'd either just stay in my room or I'd have to be like, oh, I'm gonna go out to get boba. I don't have to ask that. I could say I'm getting boba and just go out of my dorm. So I think that sense of freedom was just so much different. It's like I had freedom at home. It was just a different sense of it, because I
Yeah,
had no like strings attached, sort of.
definitely. I feel you on that one. I mean, I feel like once you get into college, the liberty of just being able to, like, essentially, even though this sounds kind of weird, but being able to almost do whatever you want in a sense, because you might not be as close to home, and you're not being monitored anymore. And, it's nice to some extent. You get to experience or visit, do things that maybe you didn't get the chance to do before. But I guess like we mentioned, talking about being able to balance it, be cautious of understanding it.
Yeah, definitely. Another like weird thing was like being accountable for my like eating habits too.
Uh,
That was pretty weird. But I sort of got used to it. I found a rhythm. I luckily was close to an Asian market, so
mhm.
me and my roommate, he's from San Francisco, which was pretty nice since we had a lot to talk about. We'd like stock up on instant ramen. We bought a rice cooker, and then
uh,
we bought like 10 pounds of rice that's still in our drawer, and we just be like, it'd be like 3 o'clock. It's like, you want some rice? It's like, yeah, sure. And then I just make rice. So it was just being able to control my own habits and like my own health was interesting too. Whether it's good or bad, it was very interesting.
yep. That I mean, that freshman 15 gonna be more like freshman 50. All right. Yeah, I mean, that's definitely true. I mean, being accountable for our own actions. But, at the same time, too, like we mentioned, you are going into a school out of state. And, back here at home, I would say you'd be pretty comfortable because you have a lot of your close friends here. And obviously, most of your family would be here. Going to a new other state, you kind of essentially start to lose some of that support system, especially since, like we mentioned, not many kids from our high school necessarily went to the Boston area. And at the same time, your family is still here in California. What would you say, like, what was your support system like at school? Was it like finding friends, maybe connecting with advisors? Like, how was your way of like finding that sense of support and like a community at Boston?
Well, I was very fortunate in the fact that I had 6 people. We had 6 people from our school go to the same program at BU.
Hmm.
I think. Yeah. So maybe it was 4, but there's a lot of people that I knew that was at Boston. My brother went to Northeastern because he just graduated. So I did
Yeah.
have family there, luckily. And I do have some other family in the Massachusetts area. So I was very familiar with Massachusetts. So fortunately, it's not like completely foreign to me. And I sort of had some people that I knew there, and I also had my brother there. But the biggest way I found new friends was through clubs. Um, at Boston, at BU, we had something called Splash, which is sort of our like club fair, and I met so many people through there. Like one of my closest friends, who's funny enough, she's from Altadena, and knows some people from my family that I didn't even know. I met her through our climbing club, and then like I still climb with her even at home. We go out and then like to like the middle of the like deserted LA and we go
Uh,
climbing. But it's just finding people with similarities was very. It wasn't that hard, like somehow, but like my closest friends, we all met through our like my roommate was like met them at orientation, and then now we're all very close friends. Like we play Minecraft with each other at home when we're not busy. So it's just putting yourself out there and being a part of many organizations. Like I'm part of the Asian Student Union, so I know a lot of people there. That was like sort of my sense of familiarity. Like I went to another like Chinese Student Association like dinner just because they had Chinese food and it was free. I was like, dude, I'm down. Um, and there's and now that I'm in like student government, there's another like sense of responsibility, but then you share that responsibility with so many other people, and because you share so many like similarities, you just gain friends along the way. And I felt that was so much help. That was so helpful for me to ground myself in my environment and meet more people in my like within my peer group too.
yeah. And it's actually interesting. You touched a lot on the extracurriculars and the clubs you were a part of at school. And just listening to you talk about it, you can see how like pretty diverse it is. You're talking about like a climbing club, your student government, and different Asian like social organizations at school as well too. And one thing that some students are probably going to notice is the fact that the clubs that you have right now in general, not every single one of them relates to your major. I feel like a lot of students, especially those maybe going to like pre-med, pre-law, or like any specific professional focus, maybe business, they feel like all the clubs and what they do in or not high school, but college specifically, has to be geared towards their career. And how important do you think it is to find clubs that aren't like that, like clubs that you can just do for fun? Like, what's the importance of finding stuff that doesn't always pertain to your academics?
I think it's just as important as classes because I feel that you need to have a balance of academics and finding what you enjoy outside of academics. So I think the only club that loosely relates to academics is the our school's history club, or
Mhm.
our, which I feel like it's hilarious. It's like really funny. Every email they send out has a historical meme attached to the email, and I laugh. I have like a good chuckle every time.
Gotta
But
love me.
it's yeah. But I mean, there's so many like when I at first I thought I was gonna major in political science. There's so many. There's like PPE, like uh, there's like PPE clubs. There's Model UN clubs. So definitely there are clubs that can cater to majors. But for me, I really wanted that freedom to do something that I enjoy. Like I like being in the outdoors. So I'm in the outdoors club. I'm in climbing club.
Mhm.
So it's just finding that it's almost finding an avenue to be stress free. You don't always want to be thinking about your deadlines. You don't always want to be thinking about assignments, and doing something that you're able to enjoy outside of academics kind of it's like stress relieving. It's so I feel like it's a healthy coping mechanism and healthy activity to stay active, two, meeting people, like three, get like better yourself in something, and four, just have fun. And I think that's so much of what college is about. It's having fun and like personal growth. And through those clubs, I'm able to grow so much, like not only physically, like I'm getting like, you know, major finger gains from climbing, but at the same time, um, it's just having that de-stressing, something to de-stress. It's so nice to have.
All right, that's awesome. And I guess just to wrap up this entire video, if you could give advice to high school students, whether that be about the college application process, college lifestyle, or even just life advice in general, what would you tell students if like this was the only message they were going to hear from you? What would you want them to know?
I'd say like chill out. Like I feel like so many high school students overthink college. It's like um, you don't have to be the best in everything. Like for example, like one of our close friends, he's like so good at everything, but then I feel that when you compare yourself to others, it's what do you gain from it? Sure, you're better than other people, but you can be lacking in something else. So I feel getting to know yourself and just working to your strengths is so much better than what many people may think is like the key to success. But I think the key to success is just knowing who you are. And while in high school, definitely nobody like knows who they truly are. Like I still don't know who I
Yeah,
will be. But I think just you have to be yourself, like to almost to a fault. Because if you try to be something that you're not, it's going to be so hard. Because like honestly, you're it's almost like you're playing an act. And being in high school with so many smarter people, like if I were to compare myself to you, Christian, I'm like here and you're like way up here.
I mean
But
strengths and weaknesses to each of our own, but
yeah, yeah. But I feel that when you distance yourself from other people in this comparison, you're able to focus on yourself. You shouldn't really care about where your friends go to college. You shouldn't really care about what your friends are better than you at. Just if you do, have them help you. Have use their strengths to help your weaknesses. So I feel that just knowing who's at your disposal, or knowing your own resources, is so important to bettering yourself.
yeah, I think that's really great advice. It's definitely something I actually touched up on this in a previous video where we were talking about it's not necessarily students that are lacking resources. It's like a lack of resourcefulness, not knowing how to use what they're already given. But yeah, I mean that was a really great advice, and we're so fortunate to have you here to kind of talk with us and give this advice to students. So honestly, thank you so much for being a part of this video. It's been an honor being able to discuss with you about these things.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, perfect. And everyone watching this, we hope that you did gain some, great knowledge from this. It's definitely a good idea, and it has a lot of great, concepts to think about in terms of the future. But yeah, other than that, thank you guys so much.